This episode of Super Boothers is brought to you by Imaging Spectrum, the preeminent source for printers and printer supplies. With printer brands like DNP, Sony, Sinfonia, you're sure to find the best printer that meets your needs and your budget. Visit their website at imagingspectrum.com.
Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Ismail.
I'm in a rather good mood.
Yeah, I'd say. Ryan's been he's been giggling and chuckling and hopped up on some good feelings all day.
I've been bouncing up and down all day. I'm so excited. I had a good day today. What can I say? I mean, I booked a fabulous event last minute. I love last minute events that are in the month for the month. Like, there's nothing better than that.
Wait, so you consider last minute something for this calendar month or something like within the next couple of days?
No. Last minute. So that's word of the daytime, people. Word of the daytime. So in the month for the month means something books that's happening this month. A pop-up is a hotel term, and that is something that is like within like the next 4 or 5 days.
Gotcha. So you got an event for November.
Yeah, it's at the end of November in lovely Las Vegas. It's a huge trade show, so I'm a little excited. We are going to Los Angeles next week. We will be there on Monday. If you are listening to this and you are in Los Angeles, you have to come see us. We are going to be at the Grove at Maggiano's from 7 to 10. It is going to be an amazing night. So we did New York earlier this year. We did Dallas. Our next stop was Hollywood. Tickets are available online at superboothers.com. If you come by yourself, it is $99. If you bring a friend, tickets are $75 each. If you bring 4 people, tickets go down to $60 each. There are still tickets available. We have an amazing room. We have amazing swag bags. Brian Ginsberg is donating boas for every attendee that's going to be there with us. It is going to be so much fun.
I'm actually really pumped for this one because a lot of our listeners are actually in the California area. So people have been asking us to go there for a while, and we're finally able to do it. And there's actually a few leaders in that area as well. So it should be a great group down there.
Another thing that I've been getting asked a lot is where are we going next year? So Hollywood is going to be our last event for 2017. I don't know about you, but I'm a little tired. We do a lot of traveling.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah. It's tough, and it's at the toughest time of the year, but...
Yeah, it's busy season, and we really don't think that... I mean, even if we are in your town, I mean, you're probably going to be working. At least you should be working. So we're not going to do that to you. We're not going to add to the craziness. So next year... So this is our last event for 2017. So for 2018, we are starting off in Sydney, Australia.
Man, that's going to be here before we know it. It's only a couple months away.
Gosh, it's a long flight, but we get to see all of our fans in Sydney, and I'm so excited to hold a koala. I can't even tell you.
I'm excited for some. I heard about these chicken nuggets. I mean, I don't know what's going on down there, but
chicken nuggets we love us some nugs. So 2018, we will be going to, these are all confirmed. We are going to Miami. We are going to Houston, which is where I got my career start. We are going to Boston. And we are going to Chicago. So those are the 5 confirmed cities for our 2018 tour. I'm sure we will add more towards the end of the year. However, that's about as far as I can go ahead, like with my thinking. Like I can't go that far. And I'm only.
And if you're listening and we haven't been to your area and you really like us to do an event in your area, please reach out to us and let us know. If you can get a group of people in your area, we consider making the trip down there.
And we're so gracious to have sponsors that help us get there. So if you want us to come to your city, please let us know. So what happened this weekend?
Well, do you want to start? Because it seems like you had a lot of positive news. I had the opposite.
Well, so this is the thing, I guess, is I kind of had a really good weekend.
Do tell.
No, I'm really lucky right now to have a lot of amazing clients where they call me and I really don't know what it is. And I think it just has to do with my style of selling. Whenever someone comes to me and they're like, oh, I want this. I'm like, do you really want that? Or who told you wanted that? Like, there was one girl this weekend. She was like all about this Kardashian booth. And what I mean by Kardashian booth is it was a white background. We did a black and white filter. We did a like beauty filter. So like it smoothed out the skin, brightened the eyes, all that other sort of stuff. And she had like a tiny little logo on the top left-hand corner. And it is not the most groundbreaking thing. She was ridiculously happy. I did this one event at a museum for free. I must have booked 7 events from it. I mean, it was just so lucrative for me. So like everyone like just absolutely loved what I did. And I didn't do anything groundbreaking. That's the craziest thing. Like the event that I just booked for Vegas for the end of the month. They're doing a Stranger Thing. I can't wait to share these photos once we're done. But they're doing a Stranger Things, I guess, sort of theme. So they're doing like the little Ouija board with the Christmas lights on the wall. We're going to do like a little Polaroid thing because that's really 80s. They're doing these amazing hat giveaways. Like it's an awesome event. It really is. So I'm getting these clients that are on the phone that are like, well, what do you think we should do? That is gold. Whenever someone says, what do you think we should do? They're asking your opinion. That is your chance to do whatever the hell you want.
But now, did you earn them asking that question? Are these new clients or are these people that you've worked with before and you've earned that right?
So this is what happened is this morning at 9 a.m., actually 9:03, I got a text message from a client that I've done work with for I don't know, the last 6 years. She said she got a text message from one of her friends that she used to work with that said, hey, listen, do you know a green screen person in Vegas? We think we want to do this. And she goes, I got you, boo. And she got us all in a text message. I hopped on the phone with them. By 9:31, I had a credit card, payment in full. We had already determined a theme. I had sold him a roaming photo booth. I had sold him animated GIFs. 0 printing. No printing whatsoever.
So that was a warm referral. And before we move on, you kind of glossed over this point, but I think for the listeners, we should harp on it just a little bit. You said that you did a free event at a museum and it led to 7 bookings, right? Can you tell us a little bit about how you like decided to do that free event? What goes into that process of analyzing what is worth doing and what's not?
So this is the event that we talked about briefly in another episode where it was the one where you have to pay to be on the vendor list. They were doing an event for, I guess, an opening, an art exhibit opening. And I knew that the patrons that were going to be there, A, had money, and B, had never really seen anything like this. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go a little bit all out, do what I want, do my thing, and just go from there. That was the best decision I have ever made. I mean, it is like gotten into a couple of little circles and it is just all the rage right now.
I think that's important to point out because a lot of people like argue, debate, and go back and forth on whether it's worth doing free events. But I think what you're saying is if it's a certain level of clientele at the event, it may be worth it and it may be the best thing you ever do, like you said.
Well, and that's the thing is you also have it to be on your terms. Like if I'm going to do this free event, you don't get to pick what you want. You get what I give you. And I'm going to give you something amazing, but you get what I give you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else positive that happened to you?
I mean, money came in.
Well, that's always positive.
Like everywhere I look, can I give you money? Can I give you money? Sure, let me take your money. Hold on. How would you like to give me your money? Okay, I'll take your money that way.
Yeah. Must be nice. Must be nice.
Well, I mean, first of all, this is the thing is I have been in the business long enough to know that it is busy season. It is a short period of time because come May, I'm going to be looking around under couch cushions and be like, holy crap, I found a quarter. Yay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes.
Strike
so I mean, right now it's raining money. In a couple months, it's not going to be raining money. So I just need to know that this is a short-lived thing. And it has been part of my goal to enjoy things as they are happening. It is very hard for me to live in the moment and just be grateful for things that are happening while they're happening. Because like I do these crazy things and don't really think anything of it. And then, I tell a story of what happened and everyone was like, gosh, that must have been so much fun. I was like, I wish I would have had like actual fun doing that, but I was just so busy working that I wasn't really enjoying with like what should be enjoyed.
Yeah. And that's something you and I have talked about offline as well. I think people who are ambitious and type A personalities that are just trying to get ahead tend to fall victim to that often, right? You just trying to do the next thing, that you don't sit back and enjoy what you've done or what you are doing. So that's something that I'm working on too. And I think people who are listening should probably make that a priority as well.
So speaking of type A, I posted something online a couple days back, and it was 16personalities.com, and it was about picking your personality types. And I told everyone that I would let everyone know what my personality type is. And I am ENTJ, which is the commander. And it is 16 personalities has like an amazing description of this stuff. So their description of me is bold, imaginative, and strong-willed leaders, always finding a way or making one.
Sounds about right.
Pretty much.
I've actually heard about this person. I think there's a scientific term for it. I haven't done it yet. I did it a long time ago, but I forgot what mine was, so I'll have to do it.
It's the Myers-Briggs personality test.
Yes. So I'll have to try it as well.
So if you haven't taken it yet, you need to do it. It's 16personalities.com.
Yeah, and if you do, let us know what your personality is in our group, and I think we'll chime in as well.
So what happened with your weekend? I know. I haven't heard this. All I heard was, so I guess Ismail was on vacation. He came back from his cruise, and he was like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "Oh, everything's amazing. How's it going with you?" And Ismail's like, "My life is literally blowing up. I'll have to call you back." And
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you later. So what happened?
Well, first of all, I had a wonderful, wonderful vacation. And you know how sometimes you just come back and you get smacked right back into reality? I think,
vaguely.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So it wasn't all just photo booth related. I had a car breakdown, tow trucks. I don't even know if you want me to get into all this, but I was dropping people off at the airport. Car broke down. I had to have a tow truck take me out of the airport. And they can only take you out of the airport and no further. And then I had to wait another couple hours for another tow truck to take me to the service center.
At LaGuardia?
At LaGuardia, of course, is ridiculous. But the crazy thing is...
hold on. Please hold. LaGuardia is the worst airport in the contiguous United States.
Possibly in the entire hemisphere.
Continue.
Yeah. And the crazy part about it is that they don't let you call any other tow truck company. There's only one tow truck company that can operate in the airport, and you have to wait 3 hours for them. It's ridiculous.
It's the mob, I'm telling you.
So I got to my second destination, and I'm waiting for my next tow truck, and my battery's dying. And just for some background, I actually had a few events that were taking place while I was away, and my brother was also with me on vacation, so there was no one here to attend to those events. So I subcontracted them to a fellow boother in my area. And my phone's dying. I'm in a parking lot in the middle of the night in the middle of nowhere. And I get a phone call from the customer that had a wedding that night, which is about 2 hours from my location. And she's like, wedding starting in about 15 minutes. Where are you? And I was like, I dropped my phone. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? So I was like, let me look into it. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And Ryan, feel free to chime in with your opinion whenever you want.
I've never had an opinion in my life.
So, by the way, before I continue, I had asked Ryan a while ago about subcontracting because we wanted to talk about this in the show, and he told me not to do it. But I did it anyway. So,
what do I know?
Yeah, we could talk about that more in a bit, but let me just continue with the story. So, I called the person that was handling the event, and apparently he had sent one of his employees the wrong location.
Oh,
so
God.
Both he and his employee were going to the same venue, and that was not the venue of my client. So no one was going to my client.
So that one event got double photo booths.
Exactly. And it was a ways away. It was in upstate New York, so it was kind of a long distance. I had no chance of making it there. So my subcontractor is like, he totally owned up to it immediately. He's like, my fault, my mistake. I'm dropping everything here now. I'm heading there myself so I can deal with the client myself. And he sped down there.
How far away was he?
I think he was about an hour away.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So he got there. So they had booked us for 6 to 10 p.m. And he got there and he was set up like 7:40, 7:45 p.m. So he was about halfway in by the time he got there.
Okay.
And from what he told me, obviously I wasn't there, but we talked about it afterwards. The client was understanding. He made it a point to go above and beyond. He stayed late. He threw in a free scrapbook that he made for them there. He told the client we'll do whatever it takes to make it right. And he told me that the client tried to tip him at the end, a
Good.
substantial amount of money, and said that
Good.
they'll book more events with us.
Good.
So that did sound good. I'm like, all right. So let me ask you, Ryan. The event happened. It was over. We made it through that misunderstanding. What would you tell the client when you contact the client the next day? What would you offer them? What would you say?
Well, for me, I'm not going to contact the client, and I'm just not. Generally, the client will email me first and say, "Hey, listen, this went wrong."
Well, the subcontractor told the client that we'd reach out to her on Monday, so she was expecting to be contacted.
Okay. I would leave it open ended. I would say, "Listen, I understand we have these issues. Blah 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 blah. What would make it right to you?" And have the customer offer the option first.
Okay, so what I ended up doing was I spoke to the subcontractor before I reached out to the client, got all the information, and to his credit, he actually offered to do a full refund and cover the entire expense, right? Which I thought was a classy move. So we both were mentally prepared to do a full refund, even though I thought that was excessive because
Yeah, it is.
she got free use of the entire few hours. She got a scrapbook. She got use out of it. So to get all that for free is a little excessive. So
Sure.
I contacted her and I explained to her what I explained to you. This is a logistical error on our end, totally our fault, no excuses. Got there late, but we stayed late. We did the scrapbook, blah, blah, blah. And I'd like to offer a 50% refund.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fair. And her response was, well, the attendant there said I'd be getting a full refund.
Really?
Yes. So we gave her a full refund. And I think that's a bit excessive, but I guess
I do too. So this is
what are you going to do at that point, right?
Well, sure. And this is the big difference is, first of all, you don't give a contractor or an employee the authority to determine what happens in the office. You just don't do that. Unless it is something like a scrapbook or staying late or, we'll send you all the images or, whatever the case may be. That's fine. I'm fine with the little stuff. I'm not cool with you determining how much I'm giving back. So in my particular contract, the way how it works is if we are late, we give a prorated amount of the time versus what you actually got. So let's say if, let's say you're supposed to do a 4-hour rental and you missed the first 2 hours, but the party's still going on to where you still get the second hour. So technically you still got the 4 hours of use, just not quite at the right time, but we'll give you all the extras for free. That to me should satisfy the client enough because at the end of the day, you still got something. You got the use of the photo booth. I don't think I've ever really had an issue with a client where something like that's happened. There are times where, the client gave us the wrong address. There was one time where the client gave us her home address and the venue was, 25 minutes away. She's like, "Where are you?" I said, "Well, she's at, this address." "Well, that's my house." "Well, honey bun, that's the address you gave me. I don't know where this event is. You do,
I also have similar language in my contract about prorating the time. But again, when something like this happens and it's not the client's fault, right? I feel like you just do what's right. I totally agree with you that you shouldn't give the subcontractor the authority to make those decisions. But unfortunately, this is kind of like a unorganized, just run around and try to resolve it and keep them happy and not get a bad review situation.
Yeah.
And I guess he made that comment, and that comment was made, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. And the other thing that I would say is that the subcontractor offered to pay. Well, he actually did. So I refunded the client, and he gave me the full rental amount to reimburse me because he didn't feel comfortable for the error that he made. And I think that
that's fair.
Yeah, and I think that that's a lesson that I've taken from a lot of other endeavors that I've been in. Things happen, right? People make mistakes, and I think the more important thing is how you react, right? Because a lot of people would be in that same position and not react the way he did. He dropped everything. He ran there. He owned up to it, and he took money out of his own pocket to make it right. And I think just that fact alone makes me want to work with that person more in the future. So there's ways to turn negatives into some sort of positive.
I will say this. One thing that I've learned about pissed off customers is they want to be heard. So you just kind of have to sit there and take it whenever something like this goes horribly wrong. There are times where a printer will go dead and the backup printer will go dead. I mean, there was literally one event, actually this was last Christmas, where I had a computer, the computer went dead. I had another computer, the software went dead. I was on the phone with Darkroom and like they had like codes to me instantly and like complete after hours. That computer went dead, and then the backup to the backup to the backup went dead. The doors are opening. I'm like, I don't know what the hell to do. And I ended up taking about 900 pictures on my cell phone, printing it wirelessly, and nobody knew the difference. I mean, it was just insane. So I think the big thing is don't panic whenever like stuff goes wrong. Absolutely do not panic. This happens every day of the week. There are starving children in this world. Yep. There are more problems than, photos for your little event. So I think once you keep that into perspective, it's fine. What's hysterical is I did all these photos on my phone, printed them wirelessly, texted to them from my phone. They're like, you can text it. This is so cool. I'm like, I'm doing it from my phone. Like literally there are 900 people. They got my phone number. Like it was just too funny. And then at the end of the evening, the client's like, great, we have our date for next year. Can we book it? I'm looking around like, are you talking to me? Like, did you not just understand what happened? I mean, so it's just rolling with the punches. And again, this is also my personality type is, you know what? If there is not a way, you will make one.
Yeah. And it also helps when the customer or client is a little bit more understanding.
Sure. I have had clients fly off the rail, and those are flying off the rail for different reasons other than you. Yeah. You're just the person to blame. So first of all, whenever that happens, it's really not you. It's the situation. It's not you personally. Although I will say this, whenever you get that first review, you will take – everyone's going to get their first bad review. It is going to be taking like a punch to the gut. Yeah. Like it's not going to be fun. You're not going to like it. You're going to be pissed off. You're going to be enraged. You're going to want to fire off an email back. Don't do that. Just calm down. Take a day. Think about what actually happened. So I will say this. This is where you need to have language in your contract to remedy situations that can happen. Any situation that could possibly go wrong needs to be covered in your contract and the appropriate remedy. I am not a prop person. I hate props. There was one person that asked me, do you sanitize your props? I was like, yes, absolutely. Twice a day. I mean, come on. Like, I would love to meet the person that sanitizes their props. Anyways, again, props aren't my thing. I include basic standard props. That is in my verbiage. We don't do theme props. I'm actually thinking as of January 1, I'm going to get rid of props from my services. I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm so over it. I can't even tell you. So I will say this in my contract. So this is the thing is I include the props for free. It's just, yes, we include it standard, whatever. They're not the best props. I let people know, hey, this is what the props look like. And it is a pretty accurate representation of what they get. I mean, sure, there might be some variations here and there, but for the most part, it's some boas, some hats, some signs, and some oversized glasses. And that's about it. I'm not going to go into all these crazy, ridiculous things. It hasn't happened in well over a year and a half, but it does happen. There are times where the attendant will forget the props. So I had one client a long time ago that was like, well, I want a full refund for props. Well, no, because you got prints, you got all the stuff you needed. So in my contract, I have, you know what, if we forget our basic standard props, you are entitled to X amount of dollars. For the inconvenience, and it's just an inconvenience fee, and that is covered. So whenever they try and fire back at me with, hey, listen, you screwed up our event, my life is ruined because you didn't bring the 5 props that you were supposed to bring, I'm like, well, it's actually in our contract that you signed and you actually initialed it. Same thing goes with backgrounds. I don't do backgrounds anymore. I put in my contract as of March 2016, backdrops are no longer included. Our only option is a green screen. That's all I do. So whenever they say, well, you didn't bring this, well, you didn't bring that. You know what? I hate to do this, but I have to throw a piece of paper in your face that you signed, and this is what it says. So you need to make sure that all the remedies are in place. This is, including, prorating the amount of time. you know what? I'm sorry we screwed up. You know what? We missed 2 hours. You're going to get those 2 hours refunded.
Yeah, I totally agree with outlining all that in your contracts. I do think there's a difference, though, when there's a client that's just being difficult and trying to squeeze you for a full refund, and when something is genuinely your fault. I think
Sure.
as a business owner, when something's your fault, like in my case, you kind of forget what the contract says and you just try to do right because you feel bad, right? And it wasn't their fault, and you just try to do the right thing and hope that either they're happy or it may even lead to future business because they see that you do the right thing.
That, you know what? That has happened a time or two where, you royally screw up and it is your fault and they are still happy. There was one attendant. This is why I hired halfway good looking people. There was one attendant that I had. I think he could have shown up without a working photo booth with just his little crappy Android phone, taken some pictures, and it would have been amazing and they would have just had a complete blast. I mean, people can forgive a bad product. They cannot forgive a bad service.
Yeah. So a couple points before we wrap up. I think the main takeaway from this experience in this show is that it's something that I tell my team over and over again, and they make fun of me because I repeat it so often. But if you do enough events, right, it's inevitable that things will go wrong and things will happen. It's just math. If you do 500 events, in a couple of events, something's going to go wrong. And you try to learn from them and prevent them from happening again. But really the more important thing is how do you react in that moment? And I think you touched on it perfectly earlier where you say, don't panic, right? A lot of times the client doesn't know that something's going wrong or you mess something up. Don't panic. Try to rectify the situation and try to handle it in a way that makes the client happy. And you'll find often cases that people are reasonable, they're understanding, and they're not going to yell and berate you that the world is over because you forgot a prop or something of that nature. So I think that's a main takeaway that I learned from this experience is stay calm and just try to resolve the situation as calmly as you can.
Whenever you get that panic phone call, I am really the king of this, and I don't know why, and that's probably a bad thing. However, whenever you get the phone call of, well, this person's not here, where are they? Okay, not a problem. Let me check and see where they are. Which event are you at? That way they know that, okay, we have a lot going on. Can you help me with who you are?
I also think it's important to not look flustered. So I've had situations where something like with the hardware is wrong and I'm trying to fix it. And I think it's very important not to look like you're panicked and flustered and calmly, your body language calmly trying to resolve the situation and just say, hey, it'll be up momentarily. Because when they see you panicking, they start to panic. And it becomes like a snowball effect.
Well, and that gives them license to ask for more. I will say this. I had an issue with an event about 3 weeks ago where I did give a full refund. And if I give a full refund, that means that Ryan screwed up big time. I had a girl at an event and I had an issue with my data plan. I had exceeded data. I have 60 gigs of data on my plan. I have all the iPads just sucking out data. Apparently the data was slowed down and one of my girls couldn't download the event from the cloud because you need to have it connected to the internet and it would time out. She ended up, I was like, go to McDonald's, get on the free Wi-Fi and start the event that way and then run back and then keep going. Literally nothing was working. I was like, does anyone have a hotspot? The venue didn't have Wi-Fi. I mean, it was just problem central. And it was a 2-hour event. It was like on a Thursday. It was some 90th birthday party or something like that. So I was like, listen, at this point, just take pictures of something just so I have something to give these people. I don't care if you're with an iPad taking the photo with the camera button. I don't care. Just take pictures. Just do something. At least give me something to give them afterwards. Sure enough, we ended up doing another photo booth software that didn't require that, to where she could just use it on the iPad itself, and it was fine. I still gave them something, and I still gave them a refund because it was our issue that we had a data problem. I did not know that this data problem existed. This was the first time I've ever experienced this, which was, I'm kind of glad it happened at like a smaller event rather than like a huge, massive activation where just like everything goes wrong. So I was able to fix it for the weekend, but still, that was just a nightmare no one should have to go through.
Yeah, I think this was only the second time in 4 years that we did a full refund. So it's not common, but I think what Ryan and I like to do on the show is show people that are listening that, hey, everyone goes through these things. Don't panic and quit or get too hard on yourself because 1 out of 150 events goes wrong, right? It's part of the game. It's part of the process. Just learn from it and move on. The other question that I wanted to ask you, Ryan, is because I remember, I think, the Dallas event, there were a few people that asked the question about when is the right time to hire, right?
Yes.
And one individual said that he was subcontracting events to someone that he brought to that event with us.
Yes.
And I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are, because he kind of told me you don't like subcontracting, but I'm personally more of a risk-averse person, and I don't want to hire too early. So I kind of start subcontracting a little bit in the beginning to see if I really do need a full-time person before I hire somebody. I'm just curious to see how you think about that and how you analyze that.
So this is, gosh, we're giving away the live event stuff. So the question that was asked is, when do I hire someone? And my answer to that is when you can no longer do the work effectively. If you are, you know what, if your passion is to work on these little booths and you want to play with all the graphics and you want to go get your props and you want to go have your fun, go do that. If you are not good at selling, you should not be selling. Pay someone who is good at it to do it for you. I'm going into my Susie Orman beatdown, like what's going on here? So this is the thing is, if you are not good at accounting, hire a bookkeeper. There is someone that will come to your house once a week, straighten up your life, and get out of there in 3 hours. If you, like me, do not like doing events, hire the people to do them for you. Get all your ducks lined up in a row to where you hand the event off to them. There are days where I will have events going on. I'll forget about it. I'm like, what day? Oh, it's Saturday. Oh, you're working? Oh, good for you. I get in the mode of, so on Tuesday or Wednesday, I get in my habit of getting everything together for the week. I will generally tell my staff the week beforehand, hey, here's what's going on. You're working on these days. Just so they block off the day. And they generally know it's going to be in the evening. The week of, because I'm not going to overload them with all this information early, the week of, on Tuesday or Wednesday, I will put all the events in the system. I will send them their paperwork, and I forget about it. I'm so lucky to have such a great staff right now to where I send them all their supplies. The booths live with them at this point. I mean, because now I can like pack it up into like a small little lunchbox and then, out pops a photo booth. But yeah, so like I get everything together, hand it off to them because you know why? It is not my job. It is not my job to go do these events. It is their job to go do those events and make sure that those clients are happy. Every now and then I will pop up at an event just for a little quality check, just to see how it's going. Are your props okay? Is your photo booth set up correctly? How's your lighting? And now with like events or event software that's in the cloud, I can do all this stuff from my phone. I've been on planes troubleshooting, seeing how, hey, can you change this real quick? Yeah, sure. Hold on. Okay, hit refresh. Now you're good to go.
So let's say you have a team of 5 people, including yourself, that can work events, right? But you've got more booths. And one day you book 7 events. What do you do for the 2 events that you don't have staff for? Would you consider subcontracting, or you're not going to hire someone just for one weekend?
I mean, I'm going to find someone on my staff has a brother or a sister or a friend that can, make a couple $100 on a Saturday. I would much rather pay an employee than pay another company. I can send my grandfather to do an event for me and he will be able to operate it. There is zero technical skill involved because I can throw everything into the cloud.
I mean, that's what I think everyone should strive for. I actually know some people that went to work at McDonald's just to learn how they systemize everything, because that's something that you can apply to any business that you have. And that sounds like that's what you did. So let us know what you guys think about subcontracting. If you have any experience with it, how your experience went, share it in the Facebook group and let's start a discussion.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Super Boothers. We are going to be in Los Angeles on Monday. We can't wait to see you. Tickets are still available at superboothers.com. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week.